What Trump is trying to do is to say, you make a deal with us and you cut out China. If countries fall into that trap, I think there will be increasing danger for the entire world because we will enter a downward spiral of the trading system itself. If instead countries, governments say, look, the United States is making a mistake, it's isolating itself, but we continue the open trading system with each other, with the rest of the world, this would be the thing that spares the rest of the world a disaster. A trade deficit does not mean that someone is cheating you. A trade deficit of the United States simply means that the United States spends more than it earns. That's all it means. It means that Americans buy a lot. One reason they buy a lot is that the government is our credit card. The government borrows for the country. It borrows heavily, and then it makes transfer payments to businesses and to households of various kinds, and that means income or that means spending, I should say, that is basically spending on the basis of a debt. And so this is all the trade deficits mean. For Trump to say that the U.S. trade deficit is because the U.S. is being cheated is like someone going out and shopping and buying something on a loan and then accusing the shop that sold him that of cheating them. No, this is what it means to borrow from others. And the United States has been borrowing from others for many decades now. The U.S. doesn't like to tax. The rich donors that pay for the U.S. Congress want to keep their taxes down. So the government runs a chronic deficit. So the country as a whole spends more than it earns. And we have trade deficits, which Trump then blames on foreigners. So you couldn't make this up. It's so bizarre and absurd, but that's actually what is happening right now. There is no justification whatsoever at all to the claim that because the United States is running a trade deficit, other countries are cheating the United States.
Do you think China is going to be the winner in Trump's trade war?
There really aren't winners in trade wars. Trade is a mutually beneficial activity. That's the whole idea. Maybe this is not something understood in Mr. Trump's mind, that you could have things that benefit both sides, because he thinks in terms of win-lose, who's he going to crush? How's the United States going to come out on top? When you disrupt trade, you have losses all over the place. And Trump's actions have disrupted the world trade system. We don't know yet the consequences because all of the instability of policy means we have no idea what the policy actually is going to land on. But I wouldn't say that China will win, but I would say that the United States will be the number one loser. This is for sure, because these are policies by the United States, and they are isolating the U.S. economy. They're raising the prices of U.S. goods. They're making U.S. manufacturing less efficient, because if you don't buy inputs from abroad at the lowest cost, how can those companies be competitive exporters in world markets? The answer is they can't. So the big loser definitely is the United States, but I'd say everyone else loses something in this as well by all of this disruption.
Let me reframe then. What I was trying to say is that aren't the other countries now looking at the other giant like China and Russia for fending off from what they are seeing in a sort of mistrust when it comes to the relationships with the US? Are they looking away now?
What Trump is trying to do is to say, you make a deal with us and you cut out China. If countries fall into that trap, I think there will be increasing danger for the entire world, because we will enter a downward spiral of the trading system itself. If instead countries, governments say, look, the United States is making a mistake, it's isolating itself, but we continue the open trading system with each other, with the rest of the world, this would be the thing that spares the rest of the world a disaster. So the question now is, first, will Trump maintain these tariffs? Will the US courts declare them illegal? Because in my view, they are illegal. They're based on a phony declaration of emergency. But if they do stick, will other countries retaliate against each other? Will they introduce new trade barriers against each other at the behest of the United States? Trump is actually asking India or Europe or others, oh, you should punish China. If we go down that road at the behest of this absolutely damaging U.S. policy, well, then the U.S. will succeed, in quotation marks, in wrecking the whole world. If the rest of the world takes a deep breath and says, we don't want to go there, we know that the open trading system is mutually beneficial, then it will be the U.S. that bears the brunt of the costs, and the rest of the world will be spared the brunt of the costs.